all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol. My behaviour could be equally addictive regarding people, places, things. In other words, addicted to work, relationships, and collecting, materialism, and trying to fix myself, or fix life around me, trying to control it, and control my environment. And to a certain extent, we can. But somewhere in there, something in me wanted to fix the way I felt all along, because I wasn't sure about life, and something made me fearful. And there were events in my life which lended my development to being fearful. And I think this happens to quite a lot of people. And some of us are quite sensitive to what is going on around us. We think and feel deeply, and we don't actually understand that thinking and feeling deeply is part of the learning process. So if people around us are, I suppose, trying to fix their world too, because they are not happy, then we can follow in their footsteps. And I guess I could have done that too. So nature and nurture play a part in trying to fix myself, and these days I try not to fix myself on a daily basis. That is, simply make good choices based on reality. So what's it all about? Recovery. How to be sober, face reality, face the truth of now. And how did I do it? Well, the simple answer is I did not do it on my own. I needed help, and it took me a long while to understand that I couldn't have the world my way. I couldn't make work work, I couldn't make relationships work, I couldn't keep on collecting and wonder why I still felt unhappy. So I drank, and I drank to oblivion, and eventually it got me into 24/7 drinking. And then, I don't know how many times, I caused strife, worry, fear from those who loved me, and I didn't know how to stop. So somehow moments of clarity came, and the final moment of clarity it could not get any worse. It just couldn't get any worse. So if I got help, maybe there was a way forward. And it took an awful long time to understand that we can't fix ourselves in a day, that we can live one day sober, so we gradually come back to some place which is normal for ourselves. Doesn't mean we're going to be normal in the eyes of everyone, because we will be judged, same as everybody else in some way or other. And it's not minding being judged, which is often the most important part of getting on with recovery, because we have guilt and shame inside us already, and nobody is harder on the alcoholic than the alcoholic themselves. So if we have guilt and shame in abundance and we can't get over it, what do? We're likely to go backwards rather than forwards. So dealing with addiction is indeed a daily part of living, to understand where we are now, how we feel, and what is possible and what is not possible. And we can't turn the clock back, so we need to look at where we've come from. And in the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, I've learned from others experience, strength and hope, and how to do this. And it wasn't an overnight conversion, and anybody who is a drinker is repulsed by the idea of sobriety, because we want it back the way it was. We want those feelings back of being happy to extremes, or sad to extremes, because that's part of the addiction to self-harm, where nothing is in balance. So one day at a time we start to gradually understand where we are coming from, and that today is the day that matters, where we can make good choices about what we can do and what we cannot do. So AA, the Fellowship Alcoholics Anonymous, the people in it, and the 12 steps of action to change my attitude and behaviour on a daily basis have helped me understand how to live one day at a time. Simple as that. Simply living in the day doesn't mean there aren't any forward plans. It means today is a part of the rest of my life. In fact, it's the only one which counts. indeed, because it's what I do today which will help shape my future. So sober comes first, it has to, so that I can love people, be loved back, and useful. And whatever we are useful doing is what we determine one day at a time. So we do get the idea of a future. At the same time, we keep our feet firmly planted in the here and now. So having said that, what's important, one of the things which I was reading about today is all about faith. And faith in good conscience, faith in being able to cope with today, faith with being ourselves. We don't need to know who we are, because we've probably lost our identity along the way. But faith that we will know more about ourselves by the end of the day, and have some gratitude for that, is a way forward. And we do it as best we can, as human beings trying a new endeavour, a new day. So how does AA help me? Well, I share the literature of AA here, and I always share the statement of intent. What is AA all about? I need reminding myself that it is there to help me. I'm not in charge of it, nobody is. It's a fellowship of equals, all unique, authentic, but with one similarity. And this similarity is expressed in the AA Statement of Intent, or AA Preamble, shared at every meeting. And it goes like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And how do we do that? By being in a fellowship. It's not the only way, but it works for me, and I like to be a part of and not in charge of anything these days. So Daily Reflections, this book, helps me with the 12 steps, one step a month, and April is all about step 4, the fearless moral inventory. And we need some faith in ourselves and good conscience. And if you believe in God, it's the God of your understanding, not somebody else's, which is important. So for me, God is truth, love and wisdom of others. God works through people. Nice and easy for me. So when it talks about on April 27th, joyful discoveries, we realise we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us, but if we have our eyes open, we can see the truth of now. Ask Him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. In other words, helping another person. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with Him is right, so if it's God or good conscience. And great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. He goes on to say, sobriety is a journey of joyful discovery. Each day brings new experience, awareness, greater hope, deeper faith, broader tolerance. I must maintain these attributes or I will have nothing to pass on. Great events for this recovering alcoholic are the normal everyday joys found in being able to live another day in God's grace, or, to good conscience, understanding we are in the universe. So when I share the serenity prayer at the end of these videos, is the can and cannot do bit, which is so important, and having faith. Faith in ourselves, good conscience, God, whatever it is. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. For me, is just for today. video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. I say that at the beginning of every video because sometimes people just pick one out at random, so it's just me making sure you know what it's about. So addiction to substance and behaviour, my addiction, alcohol, my behaviour, trying to be perfect in whatever endeavour. It could have been work, relationships, health, you name it. I could get addicted and try and push myself to extremes. And the reason why I pushed myself to extremes was I always thought I was being judged by others. And really, I was judging myself as a failure most of the time, because I couldn't do it as well, probably, as the person sitting next to me, or somebody who had a better eye, a better understanding, and I wanted to achieve that perfection. I wasn't ever perfect, and the gift is, we come into the world to learn how to live, and then sometimes we can get off our main choices very easily, because we become, I suppose, stuck in a particular routine or regime which is unhelpful. And for me, drinking certainly was unhelpful. It limited my choices, it limited my outlook, and it limited me as a human being, because taking the edge off simply meant I wasn't actually achieving my potential, whatever my potential could be. And you know, this striving for perfection, or not being found out, and putting on a brave face, and maybe having a bit too much ego going on, because it's brittle, and it's far better to have a bit more courage, faith and confidence. And what gives me courage, faith and confidence on a daily basis these days is connection to the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. I go every day if I can, apart from yesterday. I missed a day, I had other things to do, and it's not that I was putting them first, it was just that I had things to do. And I like to go to a meeting every day. That's just me. The fellowship helps me learn, experience, strength and hope how to make one day work. And it's a one-day program with 12 action steps for individuals and 12 traditions which hold the fellowship together. And thank you. I've had a few emails about doing these videos, and I will continue for the time being, but I often ask myself, am I struggling with anonymity? It's a problem that many people face. It's how do we put a message out to people and share our experience, strength and hope in the best possible way. And I've found that the only possible way I can do it is to be open, honest and willing about who I am and what I am. I don't represent AA, because AA is full of unique, authentic people, all different. And we only have this one similarity, which is shared in the preamble, which we listen to at the beginning of every meeting that we go to. So the AA fellowship, I don't speak for it. It doesn't have leaders, it has trusted servants who keep the, I suppose, machine going for the literature and understanding what AA is all about. And there are 12 action steps for individuals and 12 traditions. The action steps for individuals are based on open, honest and willing to find out how life can be. Find the truth of now, which is spiritual, and the traditions are very much about unity, recovery and service. So as in fellowship we work together to find out what experience, strength and hope we can find, what wisdom keeps us going, and find a bit of serenity in the day. And serenity doesn't necessarily mean it's all wonderful. Serenity means acceptance of what we can do and what we can't do. So we start to level ourselves out about what is good for us and how we can fit in and be a part of and included in society, community and family as best we can. And the fellowship helps me. We share this preamble and it goes like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses or opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And my primary purpose is to stay sober. And the way I do that is with fellowship, being connected to family, community and society, and doing my bit, what I can do. And you know, Freud apparently said, although I don't know where it's quoted, there are three elements to life which are really important, and that is to love, to be loved, and have something useful to do. And to love and be loved means that we have to have some understanding of how we can love ourselves.
or however will we treat other people. And often when we're in recovery, there is a stigma inside us which says, I'm an alcoholic, and I always used to think that was the person standing in a doorway with a dirty old raincoat and a can of beer in their hands. And in the olden days it used to be methylated spirits, you know, and we have that stigma against ourselves. So anonymity became part of the structure where we could find our spiritual truth, or just the truth of now. So when it comes to traditions, the anonymity question in tradition 11, which is all about anonymity being the spiritual foundation, I do question it a little bit, and I say to myself, well, truth is my spiritual foundation, and anonymity helps me find the truth of me, and that's why the anonymous works for me to a large extent. And you know, it's an open debate, and one of the things the founders said, we need change and understand our situation and how we understand our fellowship and how it moves along with society. And you know, we're going through revolutions in society at the moment with the way the economic situation is, and as we are going through these revolutions, I see the fellowship going through evolution. We seem to be level-headed enough to say let's change whatever needs changing when it seems appropriate, rather than rushing into doing something. And that's because the group that we may attend where we have meetings have autonomy and a decision to make, and provided things are generally within the traditions of the program, any group is autonomous and can call itself part of AA. But the only requirement from an individual is a desire to stop drinking, and I have a desire not to drink on a daily basis. So when I wake up, I ask myself, how am I feeling? Why? What can I do? And this morning, how am I feeling? A lot better. The cold is going. My blood sugars are still all over the place. I'm type 1 diabetic. And my clinical depression is not in the depths. So a little bit of evenness for me, and for that I'm grateful. But my feet hurt. Neuropathy. So if it's not one thing, it's another thing. I can find the joy, though, in living. I'm running on. Daily Reflections, one of the literature books I use on YouTube to illustrate what's going on. And the fourth step of the action program for individuals is all about doing a personal inventory of our assets and liabilities. And for April 27th, it says here, joyful discoveries. We realise we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and ask us, and to us. And when I talk of God, God is truth, God is love, God works through people. And some days I'm an atheist, some days I'm an agnostic, and some days I believe. And it's what I come to believe as time goes by. Ask Him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. But obviously, is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously, you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with Him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. And the great fact for me is, you know what, I think it's probably true, but often I just put in good conscience, because it troubles me sometimes that nature and providence is enough of an astounding concept, you know, nature and providence in the universe, let alone anything else. My brain can't always take it all in. Anyway, it goes on to say, sobriety is a journey of joyful discovery. Each day brings new experience, awareness, greater hope, deeper faith, broader tolerance. I must maintain these attributes or I will have nothing to pass on. Great events for this recovering alcoholic are the normal everyday joys found in being able to live another day in God's grace or in good conscience. And I don't think I've got enough time for the As Bill Sees It one in this video. I may do another one. But in all of this, it's making the best of what is and accepting where everybody is. Sometimes we can have high expectations of others because we have high expectations of ourselves, and we need to be aware that we see people letting us down when in fact they're doing the best they can. And the same applies to us. So that thing about tolerance and love, it's also about acceptance and love. And when I use the serenity, or say the serenity prayer or meditate with it, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. It's just for today and the best that we can do.
Hello, Don in London, all about recovery and Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for AA, I speak for myself. been, and here's the AA preamble spoken at all meetings of AA. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. 27th of April 2008. The time is just coming up to 9 o'clock in the morning, and yesterday a good day. Lots of sunshine here in London, UK, and it makes all the difference because people come out and they feel better. And weather does impact on us because we are of nature, so no wonder we're so fascinated by it. And it does affect our mood. And seasonally affective disorder is something I guess we all have, and some of us suffer from it more than others, and that's also conditional on what else is going on in our lives. So for me, what I do, and being a recovering alcoholic, I go to lots of meetings of AA, and there I find fellowship. And I'm so lucky and fortunate to have actually made it through an addiction to something which I could not stop on my own, and I did it with the help and support of others who know, I guess as best I do, that living one day only, living in this one moment now, is the actual way to live life, and we can make the best of what we have. It doesn't mean we're going to be superior in our outlook, indeed not. All it does is get us to that extraordinary place of being ordinary. And extraordinary ordinary is what we are, simple as that, and being able to make the best of our circumstances, our faculties, and to be a part of life again. And, you know, what a change from those times when we weren't even able to open the curtains and see what the day held, whether it was morning, noon or night. So, where am I today? Well, I'm better for 2 meetings of AA. I went to the 11:45 at the Hut, which is an alpha place just off Flood Street near the King's Road in Chelsea. And that meeting used to be at Rattling Walk, which is directly on the King's Road in Chelsea. So we have to move sometimes because places shut down or rents get too high. And I guess there were quite a lot of us there for a Sunday lunchtime with bright sunshine outside. And it's a meeting which touches on the spiritual aspects of recovery more than anything, as well as looking at the emotional and physical well-being that we can enjoy if we keep away from drink a day at a time. And you know, we get to favourite meetings, and I have very definite patterns and routines now around where I like to go and see people who I know, and also meet people who are new, because the fellowship of AA would not survive if it didn't look to those coming in and newcomers. And it's like any organisation, we all need new blood to keep us reminded of where we came from, and also to try and help and support others along this very difficult road of recovery. Coming on to the daily readings for today, daily reflections, coming up to the end of April, which is the end of the references, I guess, to step 4. Each month represents a step in this book of daily reflections. And there are 12 steps of recovery and discovery, if you like. So here we go. Joyful discoveries, April 27th. We realise we know only a little. God, or good conscience, will constantly disclose more to you and to us. Ask him in your own morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that your relationship with him, God, or good conscience, is right. And great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 161. It goes on to say, sobriety is a journey of joyful discovery. Each day brings new experience, awareness, greater hope, deeper faith, broader tolerance. I must maintain these attributes or I will have nothing to pass on. Great events for this recovering alcoholic are the normal everyday joys, finding being able to live another day in God's grace, called good conscience. And the reason why I mention good conscience is something that is a part of providence and nature, and some people see that as a divinity and an intervention by God, and I see it as it is. as real can be. And one of the things we mustn't ever do is proselytise. Proselytise only means me imposing my views on you, and the answer to that is, do not take my points of view as truth. Find the truth that suits you. It's most important. And I was at a meeting last night, touched on this, and some people have a very strong belief in God, and they have very strong understandings of what is spiritual for them. And it is not for me, it is absolutely not for me to actually intervene, undermine, or say anything which undermines anybody else's point of view. At the same time, I'm entitled to my own point of view, and as somebody pointed out to me earlier in the week, one of our banner slogans is, live and let live. The idea that we can live and let live means that we need not interfere with other people's understanding of religion, God and spiritual. But I can share mine. As you've probably got the message, spiritual for me is being able to see the truth of what is happening here and now in the day. And that is without denial and filters, and to enable my good conscience to come to the fore. And some people see that as the connection to God. So when I actually refer to God in any of the readings, it's all about the truth. And I like what Gandhi said. In fact, I understand it better in his context. He said, God is love and truth. And beyond that, it's beyond my understanding. So, there are 6.5 billion people on this planet, and thank goodness we all have our own understanding of God, good conscience and spirituality, whether we believe or not in anything in particular. So it's not for me to proselytise or put my stamp on you. It's for you to find and endorse what works for you on a daily basis, and hopefully keeps you on the road with good conscience in mind. And if we have good conscience, then I feel that we are probably on the right path, and we're not seeing the world as superior or inferior, others in the world. Everybody is the same, it has an equal right to be here, and finds an understanding of a path. Anyway, as Bill sees it, to take responsibility, page 145. Learning how to live in the greatest peace, partnership and brotherhood with all men and women of whatever description is a moving and fascinating adventure. But every AA has found that he can make little headway in this new adventure of living until he first backtracks and really makes an accurate and unsparing survey of the human wreckage he has left in his wake, and that is during our drinking days. The readiness to take the full consequences of our past acts and to take responsibility for the well-being of others at the same time is the very spirit of step 9. And step 9 is really about making amends to people without causing harm to either them or ourselves, really. I mean, the amends we make is the living amend for me. The living amend is being there and living life to good conscience, understanding our spiritual connection, our emotional connection to people, and doing it in a way which doesn't undermine, and acknowledging the consequences. And I guess we have to forgive ourselves, otherwise we cannot go on. And if we can forgive ourselves, then we need to forgive others who may have treated us badly, not because of our drinking, but generally, anybody, anywhere, for anything, because life's too short. In fact, it's very short if it's a day at a time. So if we can clear our decks and keep things on an even keel on a daily basis, we're in good stead. For April 27 from this book, for 24 hours a day, not authorised by AA, by submitting to God of good conscience, we are released from the power of liquor. It has no more hold on us. We are also released from the things that were holding us down, pride, selfishness and fear. And we're free to grow in a new life, which is so much better than the old life that there's no comparison. This release gives us serenity and peace with the world. Have I been released from the power of alcohol? Well, just for today.